Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedbuilding video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a build in the world of Oasis Springs, which is one of the base game worlds. I'm going to be doing this build using all the new content that we've got from the latest kit release, the Sims 4 Courtyard Oasis Kit. So I did design this house with in mind that maybe you wanted to have a family living here and you wanted to do some family gameplay, and so this house has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. As well as that, there is a courtyard in the middle of it. It would be rude not to include a courtyard in the middle of this build, and so obviously I did a courtyard in the middle of it, as well as like a little hobbies room, and there's like loads of different seating areas and barbecue areas, and I had a lot of fun building it, so I hope you guys like it as well. But as well as that, I actually want to talk about the building process, because I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a struggle. Now this whole entire kit is based off Morocco. Now I've actually been quite fortunate enough to actually visit Morocco. I actually went to Marrakesh probably about 12 years ago, rough estimate, but I can't remember what I had for dinner last week, so I can't remember what the buildings look like, and so I had to do a little bit of research when I was actually wanting to go in and actually build something. So I had a little browse on the internet, you know, I looked at a few different hotels and stuff, and I basically discovered that a lot of the buildings are quite blocky, and instead of having like a normal kind of, I say normal kind of roof, you know, like a roof that's kind of got like a triangular roof, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. They're not, they're completely flat, the majority of them, or the ones that I found anyway. And so I wanted to kind of bring that over and try and build something like that in The Sims. But the thing is, with The Sims 4, you could have a beautiful block building in Morocco and you try and replicate the build into The Sims 4 and it just looks like a shoebox, because just sometimes things in real life and things in the game just don't translate well over. And so it was definitely a bit of a struggle for me to build this. It probably took me probably about a day and a half actually just to plan this out. So I actually originally downloaded the kit on Tuesday once we actually, you know, the kit was released. I kind of came in, I had a little browse through all the different items. There's a lot of build items, so there's a lot of different archways and doors, there's a couple of windows, there's a lot of different, you know, like floor patterns and wallpapers. I had a little browse through them, looked at all the different furniture, and then I basically just started building what I thought looked good. Now I wasn't really looking at any reference pictures, which definitely made the building process harder, because sometimes if you look at pictures for either inspiration or if you're trying to replicate something, you can kind of take parts of that build and try and implement it into your own. But where I wasn't looking at anything, I was just kind of building rectangles and I was going back and forth, and it took me quite a while to actually plan out the structure. I've said this before, but most of the time whenever I do my builds, I'll actually go into the game beforehand and kind of map out what I think I'm going to do and just try and build a main structure, because once I speed my footage up, if I would originally left in the original footage of me going into the game, this video will probably be about an hour long and everyone would get motion sickness because of the way that I spin the camera trying to figure out stuff. And so I always go into my game beforehand and try and have a little plan about and see what's going to happen. But moving on from that and actually talking about something which a Sims official Twitter account actually tweeted about on Monday. So they basically gave us the summer lineup for the next few months, so for May, June and July, all the new stuff that's coming to the game and also events that are happening. So they mentioned about the new Courtyard kit, which obviously we've already got. This was tweeted out on Monday and we then got the kit on Tuesday, so I mean we kind of already knew about that. But then they also mentioned a creative new game pack, which I'll speak about in a minute because I was so completely wrong about that. And then they also talked about some events, which is a virtual block party for Pride, as well as a Sims event of the summer, as well as an expansion pack, and as well as 3 base game updates, which are very, very well needed. I've actually said before that I'd actually rather the Sims team focus on updating the actual core of the game than releasing loads of new content, because at the end of the day, if you've got a game and it's broken and you keep on adding new stuff to it, the game is going to remain broken. You need to fix it at some point. So hopefully some of the issues that we are all experiencing in the game will finally be fixed and finally be patched in. But talking about the new game packs, we actually got a trailer for that come out yesterday. I was so wrong with that one. So if you watch my build with when I built in Selva Dorada a few weeks ago, I actually talked about, it's funny because I'm completely off with my predicaments for the next like content coming to the game, but I actually spoke about maybe it possibly being werewolves and fairies. I was wrong. I was very wrong about that. And then they actually tweeted out when they tweeted the picture about it being a creative new career. I was possibly thinking that this could be like The Sims 2 Free Time 2.0. Maybe you could make pottery, and maybe we could have like a clay machine so your Sims can make all these pretty bowls and plates. And you know, if you ever played The Sims 2 Free Time, you know how much of a good pack that pack was. It just, like all the previous Sims 2 and Sims 3 games, they just hold a special place in my heart because I literally grew up playing the game and it just holds so much nostalgia to me. But again, I missed the mark on that one and I was completely wrong. It's the Sims 4 Dream Home Decorator game pack, which honestly is the last thing that I expected, but I am quite excited about it because there's obviously going to be quite a lot of build and buy items, and I do obviously quite like building The Sims 4, and so I'm quite excited to see more information about it. Now, I barely know anything about the pack itself. I watched the trailer last night on YouTube and that's all I've done. I've barely been on Twitter, I've barely looked at anything, I've tried to avoid leaks. I don't know if there is any leaks, but all I know is there's going to be sectional sofas, multiple counters. I think there's 2 different versions of a new counter, also a toaster oven, but I'm not sure if it's an actual toaster oven or it's just like a fancy microwave. But my question is, where's the kettle? If we're going to have a toaster, if it is a toaster oven, why can't we just have a kettle in the game? Because although the tea maker is lovely, it's not really a kettle, and so I'd really want a kettle and like a toaster that your Sims can just put bread in to get toast in The Sims 4. But I mean, maybe that's something for a completely different pack. But yeah, I'm very excited to find out more information about it. It comes out June 1st, I believe, so it's actually not that far away from us. So in about 2 weeks or so, we can actually download it and have a little play about with it, have a look at what it's about. Because at the end of the day, we can't really judge a pack until we've actually had a look at it and actually watched videos on it or reviews on it, because honestly, it could surprise us. What I saw in the trailer didn't look like much gameplay. I'm also not a massive fan of the way that the Sims... I don't want to talk negative here, but I'm just going to speak my mind. I'm not a massive fan of the way that the Sims have been doing the trailers recently, of kind of like talking as if the Sims narrating something. I'm not a massive fan of that. I want trailers back like the Sims 4 Parenthood trailer. I love that trailer. I often find myself going back to that trailer, and just watching it. Don't know if anyone else does that. They'll go back to like previous pack trailers and just remembering how excited you were from it. But yeah, I'm just eager to find out more information about it and find out more gameplay for it. And yeah, but anyway, moving on from that and actually talking about the expansion pack now. It better be farming. I really hope it's farming. I've asked for I mean, I'm not, at the end of the day, who am I? But I've been wanting farming for so long in The Sims 4, and I know a lot of other people do as well. Imagine just like having cows that your Sims can milk, and maybe having like a little chicken coop where your Sims can go and collect the eggs, and maybe being able to, take wool off a sheep and maybe make that into something. I just think it'll be such a good expansion pack, and it's nothing that The Sims have ever actually done before. In The Sims 3 store, there was a tractor, but that was it. It wasn't really like a fleshed out thing. It was kind of like a tractor, and that was basically it. And so I'm really hoping it is a farming pack. Now, I'm only saying that, again, I could completely be wrong, miss the mark completely on this one, because it seems to be a trend that I always just miss the mark on ideas, and what I think is going to be coming is not what's coming at all. I mean, as we've seen from previous voiceovers that I've done, speculating on things, but we actually tweeted Bond with Nature in this new expansion pack. Now, Bond with Nature, I was thinking camping. No, we've got outdoor retreat. Maybe something to do with recycling and, being better for the environment. No, we've got eco lifestyle. Maybe it's something to do with the more ecosystem, like being able to do laundry. We've got laundry day. Tiny living, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like, they all kind of tie in together. And so the only one thing I've got left in my mind is farming, because it just kind of goes. If we didn't have outdoor retreat, I'll be thinking, yeah, it's a camping pack, but we've already got it in the game, and so I'm really hoping it is. Also, yesterday, actually, the one thing that I have actually seen on Twitter is someone tweeted, I think it was Roxy Sims, actually tweeted a tent, which was a design of what looked like to be a farm on one of the new items that are actually coming within the game pack. And I mean, is that not a hint? We've had a lot of hints before through like pack descriptions and maybe hints toward things. And do you remember with what pack was it? It was with Nifty Knitting that we've got the rocking chairs. And when Sims actually sit on it and just kind of like remember things, one of the things, like one of the little icons that popped up above the Sim's head was skiing, and everyone was like, why is that popping up? And then we got Snowy Escape. So I mean, they do tend to kind of like give little hints there and there, like, leave a breadcrumb trail for all of us to follow and go and speculate, and me being completely wrong every single time. But Anyway, moving on from that, because I've been rambling about this summer lineup for such a long time. Also with the base game updates, I hope they're good ones. I really hope they do fix all the different problems in the game, because there is so many, and there's so many small minor ones as well. And there are so many annoying ones, but I'm not going to talk about all the different bugs and stuff because I'd be here for the next 10 years. But moving on from that, as you can see, now I'm just going into the back garden. I've actually just started furnishing it. So in the back garden, I do place down 3 sunbeds, which are from Island Living. I place down a massive pool in the middle of it, and I'm actually just adding some fountains onto it. I actually decided to paint the inside of the pool as well, by the way, using the new stuff that we got from the kit. So I used one of the wallpapers and also used one of the tiles. And then I also included a fireplace into this back garden. Now, I know Jungle Adventure is where we actually got that fireplace from, and Jungle Adventure is more like a South American kind of pack, maybe like Central American pack, and this Courtyard Oasis Kit is more kind of like Moroccan style. But I just felt like the styles went really nicely together, and so I decided to include it into this back garden. Now, there isn't actually a fireplace on the inside, just because the way that the building actually is structured and how it looks on the outside, I felt like it might be a bit weird if I just had like a little suburban chimney popping out of the side of it. And so there isn't a fireplace on the inside of this house, but there is one on the outside. And to be honest, Oasis Springs is quite a hot place to live. I don't really think your Sims are going to be cuddling up in front of a fireplace in this world. But as well as that, one of the main features of the back garden is kind of like this wraparound porch, which I designed using all the new archways that we actually got in the pack. Now, I think we got 2 different archways, or maybe 3. One's an archway and it's got these fake doors, which I also did use in this build. And then we got one archway which is on a 3 wall height, and then one which is on a 2 wall height. I really wanted to make as much use as possible of the new archways, just because they're so nice. They come in so many different swatches, so many different colourful swatches as well. But then we also have 3 different kind of like shades of white of them. I decided to use just the white ones in this build because I felt like if I would have used a column that maybe had a bit of blue in or was mostly red, then I would have been more inclined to decorate the whole house to that one colour. Whereas where I did it as white columns, I could kind of experiment with colours in different rooms. But I just absolutely loved that little kind of like wraparound porch bit of the back garden. I just think it looks so lovely. The thing that I actually did on top of it was I actually used a base game fence and tried to create like a cross pattern. Originally, I was thinking, yeah, I'll clutter this up with some kind of plants and make it look like it's growing ivy and all this kind of thing. I actually did do that, and I actually spent a long time going through and actually placing down all of the plants on top of that little porch area. I just didn't like it in the end, and so I decided to keep it plain. I felt like when it was plain, the sun actually comes through it and creates some really nice shadows in the game, you might have seen, and I just decided to keep it that way. I just really liked it. I did include hanging some ivy though onto kind of like the edges of the archways, so I actually used the ones which are from Jungle Adventure and just kind of placed them down to make them look like maybe like either they were a natural thing or maybe they were placed there on purpose. Either way, I just really liked it. But anyway, moving on from that, as you can see, I've actually now moved on to the inside of this house, and surprisingly, I'm not starting with the kitchen. Normally, I always start at kitchens when I furnish, but because of this courtyard, I really wanted to focus mainly on the courtyard first and then kind of focus the rest of the house on the courtyard. So in here, I actually used platforms in this build, which platforms are actually one thing that really needs to be updated in the game because there's quite a lot of bug issues. And say if you've got a platform and then you build a room, platforms will just go up and down and it's just all over the place. I did use platforms in this build just because where it was a 3 wall height from the arches and the doors that I used, it just felt like at some points I was looking into a hole. I don't know if that makes any sense, but where the angle of the camera was, being on a 3rd wall height, it just looked like such a big room, and it was definitely harder to decorate this house than other houses that would have been on a small wall height, just because there's so much wall space. There's only so many paintings in the game. I'm struggling for paintings as well. That's one thing that I'm actually really excited for the new Dream Home Decorator game pack. I hope that we get some really good artwork because I'm so bored of the artwork that we've actually got in the game. But as you would have seen in the courtyard, I tried to use as much furniture items that we've got with the new kit as possible. So I used the new sofa, I used the new armchair, the new coffee tables, the new decorational objects, some new lanterns, and they're just all so pretty. I tried to place them in and around the house as well, not just in the courtyard, but I just absolutely love that courtyard and the way it came together. I really like the fountain as well in the middle. Now actually on the outside of the build, I'm not sure if we've actually already gone past it or not, but I actually placed down a fountain which we got from City Living because I really wanted there to be just more than one fountain in this house. And so there's the fountain in the middle at the courtyard, and there's actually 2 fountains on the outside. There is one which I actually go back to at the very end of the build and actually add like a little trim to it. And then there is also one which is from City Living, and it's got this little elephant on it, and I just thought it was the most adorable fountain, and I felt like it fitted in really nicely with this build, so I decided to use it on the outside of this build. But now I have moved on and I've started furnishing the kitchen. So in the kitchen I decided to go for the base game counters. I was debating using the Jungle Adventure ones, but I actually ended up using them in the bathroom, so I'm actually quite happy that I didn't decide to go for them ones. I just use these base game ones in this really nice brown colour. I tried to make it look like the fridge was a double fridge. So what I do is I would actually put two like tall cabinets either side of each other, and then two smaller ones above it, and then kind of merging two fridges together, just because the kitchen, and actually not even just the kitchen, all the rooms in this house are so big. I just had to try and fill them out in any shape, way or form, and so I just tried to make as much use of like the little fridge area as possible, and so that's why I decided to do a double fridge. But now I've actually moved on to the dining room. I absolutely love this dining room. I just think it is so nice the way it comes together, and also the way that the light comes in from these new windows that we got with the kit. These new windows itself are just absolutely beautiful. I love them. I love the shadows. I love all the different swatches that actually comes in. I really like them. But anyway, in that dining room I actually did the same thing which I did in the barbecue area, where I actually used 2-3 tile tables and just kind of merged them together. Even though there's not actually enough bedrooms for the amount of chairs that there is at the table, I was thinking that maybe if you did decide to want this to have it as a rental, maybe you could add a few more beds into it, or maybe if you wanted to have it as a family home, which is what I kind of intended it to be, you could definitely just have your Sims have a lot of dinner parties, and maybe have a lot of birthday parties and have a lot of friends come round. Maybe this Sims family that lives here is quite like a friendly family. They've got loads of friends, like they've got hundreds of mates, and maybe they all come around for dinner every single night. I'm not too sure. I didn't really have a solid backstory for the Sims that live in this house. I was kind of thinking, because 2 of the bedrooms are designed to be for children, or children-ish, so one is actually for a child and then one is for a teenager. I was kind of thinking that maybe the teenager could be a teenager going into a young adult, and maybe they want to go to university, and maybe they like playing the piano in the kind of like activity room. I did actually place a grand piano, but in the bedroom as well. The activity room is actually the room that I've actually now moved on to, but in their own bedroom I decided to do a little keyboard area, so maybe they're really into music. And then with a child, I kind of imagined that maybe they really liked space. This child's bedroom is actually bigger than the teenager's bedroom, but it was just the way that the floor plan worked out. But again, if you wanted to change it, you could definitely just manipulate it and just change the build how you want to play in it. There is also another 2 bedrooms, one for some parents, and then one room which I didn't know what to do with, because I was thinking a toddler, but then the room would have been the biggest toddler bedroom ever because it was so big, and it just wouldn't have looked right. Plus I didn't really feel like this was a child friendly house or like a toddler friendly house, just because the stairs leading from the downstairs to the upstairs, they're so long, it'd take the toddler like 5 years to get from the downstairs to the upstairs. Plus I didn't include a high chair or any potties into this house, so I was kind of thinking, what could I do with it? And then I was thinking, right, let's just make it into a guest bedroom, or possibly if you wanted to play with multiple generations, it could be a grandparent's bedroom. But moving on from that, as you can see, I'm just finishing up this little activity room. I honestly didn't know what I wanted this room to be when I was doing the floor plan. I was thinking that it could possibly be a bedroom, but where there was an archway which was leading to the outside and there was no like closed door, I felt like it might be a bit strange, and so I decided to make it into an activity room. We've got the grand piano in there, we've got the foosball table, we've also got a chess table and like a radio station. If you wanted to though, you could definitely just delete that archway and maybe make it into a normal kind of door, and then you can make it into another bedroom if you felt like you had a family that needed an extra bedroom. But anyway, moving on, as you can see, I've actually now started furnishing one of the bathrooms. So in total, like I've mentioned, there is 3 bathrooms in this house. Like always though, I only show you the furnishing for one because bathrooms are quite boring at the end of the day. I really like the way that this bathroom came together though. I actually used one of the new tiles that we actually got with the kit, and then I also used the get together flooring. I just felt like it went well, really nicely together. But one of the bathrooms is actually downstairs, so there's 2 bathrooms upstairs. You would have seen me just furnish one of them, and then the other bathroom is downstairs, and it's kind of like by a little barbecue area. So as you would have seen when I decorated it, there was 2 doors on the opposite wall to where the barbecue station was. Is it even called a barbecue station? I'm not even sure, but you know where the barbecue is. On the other side of the wall, there is 2 doors. One leads into a small little bathroom. In there, we've got a shower, we've got a toilet, and then we've got a sink. And then also to the other door, it's just like a small little laundry room. I don't show the furnishing of it though, because I actually decided to do them 2 rooms in the middle of when I was doing the bathrooms, and it was just, I didn't want the footage to look very choppy for this house, so I decided to delete it, but there is laundry in this house and laundry baskets. If you don't want to play with laundry in your game, then you can definitely just delete it and maybe make it into a bigger bathroom. But anyway, I've now moved on. I've now started furnishing the bedrooms. So I started off with the kids' room. In here, like I said, I imagine that this kid was really into space, so I put some of these posters that we actually got from Discover University, and there's a couple swatches that have kind of got like planets on and rocket ships, and I just felt like it suited well for a kid's room. In there though, we do also have a desk area, the doll's house, we also have a toy box, we have the scientific table, which is an object which I haven't actually used in quite a long time. We've got loads of different things in there. Basically, if you've got a child, they're not going to get bored. But now I've actually moved on and I started furnishing the teenager's bedroom, so I was thinking that maybe this teenager was maybe just a couple of days before aging up to being a university student. Obviously, if you just wanted to have like a normal teenager that's just started from a child to now be a teenager, then you can obviously just keep it like that. But I was just kind of like imagining different ideas and different scenarios for this sim in my head. Maybe they want to go ahead and study music, or maybe they wanted to go ahead and study like fashion design. That was also an option when I was decorating this bedroom. Maybe they wanted to be a fashion designer. You know, the career that we actually got with the Moschino Stuff pack. Hopefully you know which one I'm talking about. But the career that we got with that, maybe they wanted to age up and become one of them. There's all different kind of possibilities, and obviously there is a keyboard in there. I was imagining that sim was really into music. If you didn't want to have the keyboard though, you could definitely swap it out to be something else. Side note, one thing that I'm always really tempted to place into Sims builds is the candle making station, and I was actually debating it in that room. I don't know why, but I never seem to actually place it down into my build, which is the most bizarre thing, because in my own personal gameplay, I've got them dotted about all over the place. My Sims love to make candles in my own personal gameplay, but I never seem to design houses with the candle making station or the juice fizzing station thing. Maybe soon I'll design a house that actually includes all the different kind of like weird objects that are hard to place into a house. Maybe one day soon I'll actually design a house that's got all of them awkward objects in it. But anyway, moving on from that, as you can see, I did just quickly furnish the kind of like the guest bedroom or the grandparents' bedroom. You could have it as either or maybe this family have got a butler and you wanted to be a butler's room, you can definitely do that. Or if you wanted to, you could just definitely change it to be another kind of like child's bedroom or another teenager's bedroom. But anyway, now moving on, I've now started furnishing the last room in this house, which is the parents' bedroom. So in here, I decided to use a city living. Can you class it as a 4-poster bed? I'm not too sure. It's this really nice, big, kind of grand bed, but that's why I did decide to use it in here, because I felt like this room is the master bedroom of the house. I really need to use this bed more often. It comes in some really nice swatches. I was actually going to use it in a different swatch where it was like a grey bed frame, and then the curtains which kind of dangle on top of it were orange and green, but where it was a grey bed frame, it was really hard to find furniture that actually matched with it, and so I just decided to use the one that I've actually currently used, paired it with some Discover University bedside tables, and also pair it with the cats and dogs chest of drawers. Is it just me? Was it really hard to find a matching brown colour swatch of chest of drawers? Maybe it is just me, but I just find it really difficult sometimes. But it ended up being that the cats and dogs ones actually matched perfectly with the bed and also the bedside tables. But now I've just finished up that room and I've actually just moved on to the last section of this house, which is the hallways. I'm just going to go around and add some paintings and also add some more of the furniture that we got with the kit, and just try and, you know, tie it all in together and make it feel like a Moroccan inspired home. But anyway guys, I am actually going to end this voiceover here, so as always you can download this build via the gallery. My origin ID is Jessicapie YT, or you can search for the hashtag Jessicapie YT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, if you do like my content then please do subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in my next Sims 4 speed building video. Bye guys.